Hello, and welcome everyone today to Shopping for Health. I'm Nancy Pyho. I'm a registered dietitian and I'm the director of Shopping for Health. So we welcome you today. Just a couple of quick notes before we get started. This webinar is being recorded. It will be posted on the Shopping for Health website, so you can join it again at any time, or please feel free to forward it on to anyone in your company who might be interested. At the conclusion of our hour together, we'll have a short Q&A session, 10 or 15 minutes. And finally, keep in mind that we do have some door prizes today. Pacific Coast Producers has provided 3 fun boxes full of swag and product merchandise and all kinds of things. And 3 of our RDs will win them. You do need to be present to win, so we'll do a random drawing at the end of the webinar today, and I'll announce the winners then. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Pacific Coast Producers, and let's kick it off.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Andy Russick. I am our Vice President of Sales and Marketing with Pacific Coast Producers. I'm here with my good friends and cohorts, Beau St, Germain, who is our Senior Director of Retail Sales, Tami Iverson, our Director of Marketing Communications, and my good friend Chris Ward, our Vice President. Actually, today he's our Chief Operating Officer, so he's in charge of all of our plants and operations. So I'm just thrilled to be here with you, and I'm really happy that you are all interested. I hope we give you a good show today. So who we are, we're Pacific Coast Producers. We're a grower-owned co-op. We have 158 growers throughout the Central Valley that own us, and we farm and package in shelf-stable form 835,000 tons of products in 16 commodities. We're in the Central Valley of California, a 300-mile swath of agriculture. And what we do for a living is we are everyone's private brand. So we're the private brand for every retail chain you can think of, and then lots of restaurants and lots of other different places, the 1.1 million places where you can find big cans, food service, things like that. So we're very happy to do what we do, about 53 million cases a year, 1.3 billion in sales, and we are trying to feed the world as economically and safe as possible. Tami.
So, farming is the heart of our business, and our grower owners are not only our suppliers and our owners, they're actually stewards of the land and innovators in agriculture in California. They are the very beginning of our entire process to assure that we are delivering high quality, shelf stable produce to consumers across the country. They work very closely with our teams on the production side and the field side of our business to maintain quality, consistency, and sustainability in the fruits and the tomatoes that we grow. And I'll hand it over to Chris.
Yeah, so I'm privileged to lead our group, all of our operations, manufacturing, quality, and engineering. And so we're excited to walk you guys through a little more of our process. And we have a video coming up and a few slides that'll be helpful to kind of show you what we have going on company-wide.
Yeah, Tammy, I loved how you said shelf-stable produce. That's such a fun way to describe our products. You know, really, you're looking at product that's going freshly picked from the orchards, and then we're minimally processing it and distributing it out to a bunch of consumers across the country. So effectively, we are a custom premium private label packer. So if you think about all the retailers across the United States, from big to small, from Walmart to Sprouts and Nugget Market here in the Northwest here, we're servicing everybody's private label with the most premium quality, better than national brand at an affordable price. So that's kind of our mission: nutritious food for everybody in all forms.
You can see here we're predominantly in the Central Valley here, and also we have a few facilities up in the north that we basically produce cherries up there. And so we do cherries for the ingredient business, for like large scale ice cream companies. Also, we produce a lot of food service and retail maraschino cherries out of our Salem location there. And as you work your way down to Northern California there, we have a really large fruit cocktail, plastic 4-ounce fruit bowl facility there. And we also run grade peaches, grade pears, and have a pretty nimble facility there. In Woodland, we have the world's largest tomato canning facility there, so with over 28 canning lines. So we do all full service for all retail and food service. Then we have a 1.5 million square foot distribution center in Lodi, along where we label, case, and ship across the U.S. and a little bit internationally. And Our Lodi facility does applesauce, apricots, and peaches, and then we have a alliance partner, Morningstar, that we run a various amount of organics and conventional items through. But you can see off to the right all the different commodities that we produce, and we'll walk you through some of that as we go.
So harvest time for us is a very, very critical time in our operations. You see that circle right there with all the little tractors. That is our harvest window, and that is about 90 days from start to finish. And that's the time that it takes us to grow and pack our entire year's worth of product for our customers. So due to that very short window, we have to ensure that we have a very, very secure annual operating plan with each of our customers, so that we're not, so that we're packing enough or, not running them out of product.
So Chris kind of walked you through our plants there on the West Coast. So you can kind of see that in blue. That's the core of our business. That's where all of our domestic growers are delivering their crops to us. But over the years, we've found that our customers are looking for us to supply other things, other unique items that complement our current production. So we've gone out with a sourcing team and sourced different products. So in the U.S., we have 8 different plants, and across the world, we have 8 different countries that we work with in order to secure product to bring to shelves and to delight our customers. So you'll see a bunch of glass jars on the left there. That's been the big primary focus of what we've been working on recently. We're really trying to premiumize that category and looking at glass to support that. We did have a little fun deal with our business where we went a little viral with that bottom item, pineapple spears and coconut water. We hit TikTok, and we've never been so popular, so it was quite a fun experience for us. But that's how we're working to make sure that we're always supplying everything that our customers are looking for, whether we grow it here in the United States and process it, or if we're importing it and adding on to our trucks and fulfilling our customers' needs. So the import business has become pretty significant for us. It ends up being about 23% of our overall volume today.
Hey, Beau, I like how you created that brand new country down there in New Mexico. That's cool. So
Yeah.
9 countries, including New Mexico. What do you do there?
Yeah, yeah. So that is also a co-packer for us. So what we're doing there is we're doing some marinara cups out of that facility. We're also doing some premium glass items like salsa, and as well as like Hatch green chili. So Hatch green chili has become very popular. So similar to like the 505 brand that some of you might have seen out in the market at Whole Foods and other places, doing a premium green chili salsa out of that facility. So thanks for noticing, Andy. So talking a little bit about the retail landscape, what we want to be is we want to have something for everybody, something for all occasions. Oftentimes you hear about all forms, right? So fresh, frozen, dried. How do we get people to consume more healthy products? Health is determined about what you eat, not about what you think about eating. So we need to be relevant to all kinds of different people in all different forms. So we started our business as a cannery 53 years ago, but as consumers have changed their preferences, we've moved and we've reshifted to consumer-facing packages that speaks more to people. We've gotten to the club business, which you'll see on the bottom right, which is in carton form. So we do that in club as well as in general retail, where we're wrapping cans into multi-packs. Also on the bottom left, we've gotten more into a value proposition in fruit bowls, where we're selling 12 packs. And then, of course, the glass, which we talked about a little bit, but you'll see all kinds of different pouch, foil lining, plastic, glass, and then, of course, our cans. So in total, we have 10 different packaging types today. And really, this is about being, there for every customer as they need it, and providing the assortment that our customers are looking for, economic, premium, convenience, and club.
I love this map, you guys. This shows that we're trying to be everybody's packer, everybody's custom packer, everywhere you can think of. So this is our business. We have 450 customers. We are as Beau mentioned, the premium packer, the custom packer for private brands for all these different customers. About 2,100 ship-tos. We're servicing 1.3 million food service outlets. Think in terms of schools and hospitals and restaurants and universities and healthcare facilities. And so we're trying to be help those places do things conveniently with shelf stable, easily pre-prepped items that can go right into many, many, many meals. Think marinaras, pizzas, think compotes, think muffins that have our peaches in them. And we're also trying to be, as most of the people on this webinar should see, we're trying to be your private label packer for your retail grocery chain. So there's about 45,000 retail grocery stores in the US, and we're doing something for each and every one of you. About 1.1 billion, 1.3 billion in sales. And we're actually, that number there, that 44 million, that's going to go up. That's going to be about 53 million cases this year. And I'll give you some reasons later as to why that's happening, why we keep growing. And this one is more specific to each of you out there. Hopefully you get to see yourself on this map here. And we've been a private label packer since 1971, and this map has really filled up over the years. If you looked at us 10 years ago, we were about half the size. And what we've learned is that we seem to be the answer to everyone's concerns as other packers go out of business, or as people want more things under their brands. We find a way to get that for them, whether if it's overseas or in our Central Valley.
We can do almost anything within our subcategories. So we really focus on providing an option for all consumers, and being the highest quality brand that's available on the shelf. So oftentimes we get compared to Del Monte or Dole, but really our quality is premium to theirs. We've been investing millions of dollars, actually about $30 million a year in our facilities in order to make sure that we have the best quality product available in the market. And that's something that we really don't see amongst our peers. So although we are technically private label, we like to think of ourselves as the brand leader. We have the highest brand share in our categories that we're involved in, and we take that seriously. We think we need to have the best quality and provide that to the consumer at an affordable price. So we continue to develop our fruit and tomato lines accordingly, and we've also expanded into cherries. So interesting fun fact about us is that we're actually the cherry supplier behind every major ice cream brand, as well as every private label brand. So we take Northwest cherries, harvest those by hand. We use them to make maraschinos for cocktails and glass, and then anything that might not have a stem or retain the stem, we can transition those to ingredient cherries and use those for different ice creams and products like that. And if you're really looking for a fun Friday night, check out that Old Smoky cherry bombs, but don't try that in the day, just at night.
Hey, Beau, speaking of fun Friday nights, if I were to go to my favorite restaurant and hit the bar and order a Roy Rogers or a Shirley Temple or a Manhattan, whose cherry would be in my drink, do you think?
I think there's a 92% chance it's going to be from Pacific Coast producers.
That's pretty exciting. Thank you.
Yeah.
So this graphic is pretty good illustration of how simple our process really is. So we're like on the fruit side, we're bringing in fresh peaches, and we are washing, we are pitting, and it's all mechanically done. And I believe the video might show a little bit about that. And then we are going to slice. We're going to peel, slice, and then we're going to optically color sort. So we're looking for all sorts of different defects, any size issues, things like that. And then we go to the canning process. And the canning process is really simple. We're basically filling the can. We have a juice in most cases nowadays. And we're going to cook, and we're going to seal that can by making a nice seam. And then from there, it gets cooked, cooled, stacked, and later on shipped down to our distribution center for labeling and casing.
Hey, Chris, I'll bet everybody on this call is asking, what are you putting in those cans to preserve? How do you have such a long shelf life? What is your secret?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you would do at home. So it's time and temperature. And the natural pH of the fruit, it doesn't actually require, it requires just a minimal process. The fruit's under 4 pH, and so it's just time and temperature, just like you would do at home.
Wow. So if you keep these things under the proper vacuum, they're going to last a good 3 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing in there but a steam flush and an absence of oxygen, eh?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You know what else? You know what else, Chris? Everybody in my family thinks you're cheating them because you have that little headspace in between the top product and the can. That's probably necessary for the cook, I suppose, right?
Yeah, it's necessary for a couple reasons. One is because we don't want to have any oxygen in the can. So just before the lid comes on, there's a steam flow that we put a little bit of steam in the headspace to take up any oxygen. And then the other reason where we have a little bit of a gap is so when they're rolling through being cooked, that they have agitation and we have proper, thermal process.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you can any tomatoes? You do anything with tomatoes, Tami, Chris?
Yeah, we do. I think the next slide will show that
Oh,
process, and
oh,
it's
oh.
it's similar as well. So we'll bring those tomatoes in, and we'll run them up the elevator, and we go through and wash those tomatoes. And then the next thing is we optically sort those. So we have color sorters that are looking for any defects, green, yellow, things like that. They go up into a steam peeler, and that's probably the most exciting thing we've done quality wise, I'd say, in the last several years that I really like is the steam peeling. So what we do is we actually boil just under the skin, just a little bit, and then we pull them under vacuum, and then when we break vacuum, it pops the skins, and then we have a mechanical skin remover, peel remover, and from there we can either run whole peel, dice, slice, and then the canning process is very, very similar there. Where we're going to can those, and we're going to put some sort of a topping juice in there. It's just a really pure juice, and sometimes it has salt, sometimes it has spice blends, depending on what the customer's requiring. And same thing, Andy, we leave a little bit of a headspace there. Cook, cool, and we're good to go. We're shelf stable, and all of our retail sizes have the pull tops as well.
Wait one hot second here, Chris. So you're saying that 95% of our tomatoes are grown within 17 miles of our plant. And so everything is harvested and canned and cooled without preservatives or additives in 5 hours or less. Wow.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, it's generally within 1 to 2 hours, but we put 5 hours because we wanted to have some leeway, but generally it's just within a couple of hours. So
Man, this sounds so good. It sounds too good to be true. Why are people always beating up on us can people when you're doing such a great job of making it as fresh can be? Don't answer that. That's fine. Let's just go to the video then, Tami.
all right, fair enough.
All right. To kind of show you what Chris was describing, we wanted to play a video here. So I will hit play.
We have a processing step in which the fruit, the cans, and the plastic bowls go through a cooker or a retort.
Okay.
I say retort's kind of a fancy word for those that maybe aren't in the industry. It's really just a giant pressure cooker, just like mom or grandma used to use when they canned peaches. And so our products go through that sterilization step. When they come out the other side, the product inside the container is completely pathogen free and bacteria free. And so the product is that's in large part why the product is able to have such a tremendous shelf life, and why it's able to maintain kind of the that fresh like quality for so long.
The truck is weighed, so we know exactly how much tonnage is coming into the plant. And the second step is it goes through a USDA RAND grading station. We 100% steam peel, and the beautiful thing about steam peeling is we can recycle and reuse all of that wasted peel, and that goes straight into our formulated flow. So that's also a source of tomatoes that we use in our tomato products, paste, purees, and sauces. The whole canning process is really the preservative. You're making a shelf-stable food in the container that can sit in your pantry for up to 3 years. So there is really no magical preservative that's added. And what we do is we cook it to a sugar level, or what we call solids, lessen the water activity, and take out the element of oxygen and cook it. And that's what gives its shelf stability. Any cans that we waste here gets directly recycled, but more importantly, when you're finished using them in the kitchen or anything, they're 100% recyclable, which is pretty unique for something that sits on the shelf for a while, and after use, it's ready not to hit the landfill, but to be recycled.
Right now, our current can coating is very safe. It's a food grade, non-epoxy vinyl that is not only BPA free, but it is also free of phthalates too. So I know that's been a buzzword that's been out there too. But yeah, extremely safe. There is no concern from a food safety standpoint of our can linings.
We produce what we call bright stacks. They're bright because they don't have a label. They're nice and shiny. For us being a private label manufacturer, this pallet theoretically could have multiple customers. So they get sent after production to the DC located in Lodi, and where they'll, based off an order, apply a label that matches the customer's needs or brand.
Thank you, Tami. I love the music you have in the background. It makes me feel like clubbing tonight. I feel like going to a nightclub. I can't help but move my head. Chris, hey, Chris, do you mind if I ask you a couple questions? Sorry to put you on the spot. I love the technology that you have in your plants now. People think, canning, that not much has changed since Napoleon had the can invented by Nicholas Appert in 1803. But you've made a lot of changes. My favorite changes of yours are infrared sorting in your plants. Labor is so expensive these days, and people don't really want to do these jobs. Can you talk a little bit about the cool automated infrared sorting you do in your plants?
Yeah. I mean, we used to need to have hundreds of people working to sort on all 3 shifts, 24 hours a day, and it's been difficult to find people that want to work 24 hours. Not work 24 hours a day, but work shift and just work during the summer. So we've slowly been migrating our technology to optical color sortings. We use Tomra color sorters, and they're able to look for any type of pit fragments, defects, hail damage, limb rub, anything that's going to be unsightly for the consumer. Also, they can detect a soft peach as well, as an example for peach, if we're talking about peaches. They can look, they do a great on any of our commodities, actually, all the way down to 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter. So
that's fantastic. I think it's amazing that your sorters can test for character. I wish I could do that, walking around, test for character as I'm walking in a mall or something like that. So whether it's frayed or too soft or too hard, that's fantastic. Okay, so the other cool thing in this picture on the lower left there, those are new pitters. I think you spent about $7 million on figuring out a way to not destroy so many of your peaches, because in cling peach pitting, cling means the pit doesn't want to come out. So can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think those two things right there have changed the quality of our fruits so much, I think.
Yeah, we used to have we used to be able to pit each machine. We had 106 machines that would pit 100 peaches per minute each. But we switched to these wider format machines that'll pit 350 peaches per minute. And when they pit, instead of just torquing the peach, grabbing the peach, hitting it on a blade and torquing it or twisting it and opening it, hoping that the pit pops out, these machines, what they do is they have a knife comes down and automatically counter turns and spoons out the pit cavity on both sides. And so they're actually called zero pit machines, zero pit frag. And so since they just take a little bit of flesh out behind the pit, we're able to greatly reduce our pits.
Okay, cool. Torquing. You got to be careful when you say that. It sounds like something from a Miley Cyrus video, the dance.
It's the twisting motion.
Twisting. Totally different. Totally
Yeah,
different. I got confused. Okay, so that's fantastic. Okay, so Chris, there's a ton of things I like about you, but the thing I like about you the most is you figured out how to peel our tomatoes and now our pears using steam instead of lye. And in 2008, we moved away from, basically burning the peel off of a tomato or dissolving. And now you do it with steam peeling, which is fantastic. Just water, vacuum, and heat, right? Can you talk to that a little bit about tomatoes and pears now?
Yeah, start with the tomato side. It's been not only a great thing for quality, but it's also been a huge sustainability play for recovery. We're able to recover 100% of our tomatoes now. So in past when we were chemical peeling, we would lose a lot of material, about 30% that we couldn't recover, and it created issues and used more water as well. So now we're able to use 100% of that tomato. So anything that doesn't make it through the peeler goes toward topping juice, purees, paste, things like that. On the fruit side, we're stepping into this, and this coming summer we're going to be steam peeling. We'll have the ability to steam peel pears, apples, and we're going to be testing peaches as well.
It's fantastic. I love it. That's such a great sustainability move for water, but also I just feel I can't help but feel healthier knowing that there's nothing but natural things happening there to get our products prepped for consumption. So, hey, I think Beau also is fond of you for different reasons. And so, Beau, you got some questions for Chris while we got him here?
I do. I mean, I think people are really interested in that those apples down on the bottom there. When we look at our category, we're seeing a lot of growth in applesauce squeezies. Are we ever in this history of this world going to be able to do applesauce squeezies here?
Yeah, we actually have a capital that we're moving forward on right now, which is going to we'll be able to process what we need to be able to run that either into fruit cups or into squeezies. So we're doing the front end of that investment. It's kind of a two-phase thing, Beau, but yeah, and then after that we can get into final packaging.
Awesome. I can't wait for that. You'll also see there's some mandarins down there. Most people probably know that the majority of mandarins are coming out of China. There's a little bit of pressure there, political as well as with tariffs. And so we're actually working on a way to mitigate that by working with one of our partners in the Americas, actually in Peru, where they're actually processing mandarins into cups and cans. And so we're working with them to provide a solution to our customers for mandarins out of Peru. So that's another fun, exciting thing that we're working on and will continue to develop.
Exactly.
Chris, sustainability is such an important part of our lives now. Sustainability means a lot of different things, but mainly to me, it means being stewards of the land and stewards of the earth, not miners of our earth. I think there's so many things that you're doing on behalf to save our resources, to save water, to save energy. And in your plant specifically, you have a couple things that I love. One of them is that you're able to produce enough of your own power in your plant to power now a third of your plant and probably sooner more. So I think that's a huge thing. You're not having to use energy that's supplied by others. You're making it with your own steam. Can you explain that to this group? That's a difficult one for me to explain.
Yeah, this one's probably my favorite on the energy. It's in my top two, I can tell you. Yeah, so we're taking, we have, first of all, we have very low emission boilers, the lowest you can have for water tube boilers in the US. We have two large ones. What we do is we take really high pressure steam, a little over 400 PSI, and we run it through a turbine at high pressure, and it spins a turbine. And the turbine pretty much looks like if you're on a jet airplane, you see those turbines there. Looks exactly like that. We spin it about 8,500 RPMs, and then the energy from that goes into our capacitors, and we can generate about 2.5 megawatts per hour. So it is about a third of our load. And then the waste steam, if you will, and it's all clean, but the exhaust steam from that then becomes our process. So not a lot of people have the ability to make high pressure steam, or more people would do it, but it'd be a lot of acres of solar to do what we're doing with the equivalent here. So this is a highly efficient process.
Awesome. Another thing that this is more of a statement than a question, but
Yeah.
I bet this group that's watching today doesn't realize that where you need a lot of water to run your plant and keep things clean, and where you get 300,000 gallons of water a day is from your own tomatoes. The tomatoes that come into the plant, they're 95% water, and as you evaporate those tomatoes to make sauce and puree and paste, you save that water, and then you reuse it in the plant, moving things around, I suppose, moving as a conveyor, like the tomatoes are on a log ride, if you will, Disneyland. Can you touch on that just a little bit?
Yeah, so when you're evaporating, just like if you're trying to do it at home on a stove, when you're trying to cook something down, but we're doing it under vacuum with very, very little energy. And yeah, so we're removing water. We're pumping the tomatoes to a top of an evaporator, and it's dropping down through heated tubes. And so that's how we're removing water. And we pull that condensate or that water off. We're taking that and we can use it either to help feed our boiler. We can use it for cooling towers. We can use it to move tomatoes. We have the option, but we joke around that we're kind of net exporters of water because we bring in so much water. And then we actually take our wastewater and send it out. We have a ranch that we're growing hay for cattle and things like that. So
I love it about your plants, especially your tomato plant, is nothing is wasted. Nothing is wasted.
No.
You get the most out of everything. The things that can't make diced or whole or crushed tomatoes make paste or puree or sauce or juice. And the things that can't do that, you even take the peels and the seeds and you squeeze them even more with your double squeezer or whatever you call that. I just made
we have a press. It's
called a press, not a double squeezer. A double squeezer is a hamburger that at a joint I used to go to. That's right. But then you take that, and then what's left of it, the pumice, you call that salsa trucks. You ship those out to cattle, and they eat. They love that stuff.
Yep. We sometimes it goes direct, sometimes it goes and they mix it in with their silage and do that. But yeah, the cows love it because it's got the natural sugar content from the fruit. So yeah, they love it.
If I were a cow, that's what I would want to eat, because that is tomatoes. It smells so good in our plant, and also you sell. Actually, I say sell because they don't pay much, but you also sell that pumice to dog pet food manufacturers, and that is the binding agent. Pumice is the binding agent for that, right?
Yeah, and it also helps them. Some of the premium dog foods will have like a call out for a lycopene, kind of a lycopene play, and so it takes care of that as well for the ones that are interested in that.
Okay, and then Beau, surprise question for Beau. Wait, Beau, in peaches, we don't waste anything. In fact, you even sell your peach pits to the cruise lines, right? Can you tell that story real quick?
Yeah. So it's pretty fun. Actually, these cruise ships, they're using a lot of food and they're trying to mitigate that waste. And so they have these big digesters on these ships, and they needed to find something that could agitate the food and help grind up everything that's in these big digesters on these massive ships. And they found that the peach pit, because it's extremely dense and hard and has a lot of jagged edges, it's actually perfect for these digesters. So now we have a secondary use for these pits. So they go to these cruise ships and they're using food digesters. If they don't go down that avenue, we actually also can sell them up to a cogeneration facility, which will burn them in the winters to generate electricity. So we are really a zero waste facility and operation. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome. And Nancy, your listeners would be happy to know that what we do sometimes with our pits is instead of bark chips, that you would put on your lawn, we use that as kind of a spread on next to the sidewalks and stuff. Kind of fun. Okay, Tami, I am done rambling. Could you go to the next slide, please? No, I'm not done rambling. I'm not rambling. Okay, you know what, Chris?
Yeah.
It's important that you take the money that we make in this company and improve your plants every year. And this slide is the biggest illustration I have for that, is that in our time together, the 53 years our company's been in business, 48 of people that do just what we do, canning peaches, pears, tomatoes, apricots, have gone out of business because it's such a tough business. And that's probably because the investment, they haven't figured out a way to handle more with less money. Would you, I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I absolutely. I mean, I think that one of our keys to success, we have many, I think, that have gotten us to where we are, but it's just been being real industrious, trying to utilize everything. You mentioned the sustainability. I think we've been like that throughout our company, throughout the years, where we've had to be really lean. And I think then we've been very prudent as we've been able to invest. And our board is very all about, investing. And these are very capital intensive facilities, as you saw in the video. So it costs a lot to operate facilities like this, and to have the technology that we can drive the quality and throughput that we need to do within that 90-day window that Tami alluded to earlier.
Okay, that's fantastic. I love the investments. There's so much great technology out there, and I know that you have to make really smart decisions every year, and that's why we're still around. Tami, I feel bad. I have not yet asked you a question, so I feel like you have some things that you want to say. Can I can you forgive me, and can you talk about, I don't know, demystifying some myths or
Yeah.
the cool things about our products?
Yeah, I think you guys touched a lot on the sustainability slide already, so I can just move on if you don't have any more to add to this.
Yeah, that was my bad. I went out of order. My apologies to the gang.
All right. So, and I believe this presentation will be shared. So if anyone's interested in this information, you guys can have access to that. But one thing I also wanted to touch on was, we hear tons of myths, and we have lots of questions from consumers and dietitians alike about preservatives in our products. And I mean, Chris talked about it earlier about the canning process and how it's, time and temperature, heat and seal, how there's no need for chemicals in canned fruits or canned tomatoes. And then just looking at the short ingredient list, hopefully consumers can understand that we don't need to add any types of those preservatives to our products to keep it shelf stable. Another myth that we talk about quite often are our can linings. Consumers are still, hung up on the BPA and can linings, and Pacific Coast Producers as a company has been out of BPA can linings for over 10 years. I would say closer to 15 years in all of our products. And I would say the majority of the United States canning industry is also 99% out of any BPAs in can linings. So our can linings are strictly regulated by the FDA, and we work with them very closely on ensuring that can linings are just used to ensure a safe food product for consumers. And then if you're concerned or worried about in BPA still in your cans, we do have we're private label, but we hope that our customers are adding transparent labeling saying that their cans are non-intent BPA. So if you're still worried about that, then that's something that you can look for.
Yeah, Tami, that makes me so sad that it still is something that people ask about. Actually, I don't mind them asking, but when they say that there's BPA still present in our can linings, in 2008, August 15th of 2008, we moved away from it. We really forced our can maker to do that for us, and it costs us $2.5 million a year to not have that, to have something that is more scientifically acceptable. And to think that people still think it's in there, it saddens me, because I want them to know that we're so proactive about making sure that we're doing the healthiest thing possible for our consumers. So thanks for bringing that up, though. I appreciate it.
And I'll move on to our next myth that we hear about all the time would be that canned foods aren't nutritious. our industry, canned peaches and canned apricots, have had extensive studies and research done on the health benefits of canned fruits versus fresh fruits. And the Apricot Board did a study with UC Davis here in California, and they found that canned apricots were very high in beta carotene, phenols, antioxidants compared to their fresh counterparts. And then our California Clean Peach Board also conducted a study with the Oregon State University that showed that antioxidants, vitamin C, and folates were all increased during the canning process. So these are all studies that are online, available to anyone that wants to read them. We also get a lot of questions about added sugars in our products. And the industry has, as Chris spoke about earlier, has gone a lot away from heavy syrups in our products, and we're packing the majority of our packs in fruit juice, which contains 0 added sugars. So that is something that we like to tell consumers. There's no added sugars in fruit that is packed in juice. It's all natural sugars. And then if you're really worried about sugars, then we also have Splenda packs that have even less amounts of sugars with 0 added sugar. So all this great information available to us. And then also, we have a lot of industry partners that we work with. And all of these pictures here are showing the various dietitian toolkits and supermarket dietitian toolkits. So we work with the California Clean Peach Board, the Tomato Wellness Council, the Canned Food Alliance, and they all have a lot of great information available, and really would love to share all of their great information with all of you. And they have recipes and just all kinds of stuff that I know that you've been asking for: videos, how-to videos, all the things. And then on our side for PCP, we do a lot of partnerships with our retailers. We've worked with Weiss on every year we work with them during Canned Food Month for a Facebook Live cooking demo. We've also done lots of different cooking demos, live cooking demos. We also have done a lot of social media posts with our customers. We have created videos. We have provided information for landing pages for customers. So lots of different ways that we have worked with customers in the past and would love to work with our customer partners in the future. Store Brands Month is January and Canned Food Month is February. So those are always something that we like talking about and doing exciting things.
Tami, if I'm on this call and I'm one of your retailers and I work with you, will you give me a Can Fan shirt or a Stand By Your Can shirt or a trucker hat of yours?
Oh, of course. We are the kings
shoot.
and queens of swag. So if you were at Fancy this year, you might have have obtained a shirt of ours.
Okay,
But yes,
shoot.
we love our swag. Also available through us are some, our reels, our growers. They do not necessarily like being on camera, but they go on camera every single year and talk about their harvest. They talk about their businesses. So if there's something that you'd like to see, just ask us. We also work with media dietitians with creating recipes and videos and different content related to our products. This one was grown in the USA social media post. And then we also have a lot of how it's made videos similar to the one that you saw earlier. Also on our website, there's tons of recipes that we've had professionally created, and then tons of infographics talking to all products. And we also have created a toolkit, which if you scan this QR code, will take you to a Dropbox with all this great information that we've talked about today, and tons of resources about sustainability, recipes, videos, anything you could probably ask for about our products. And then last but not least, I wanted to talk about our CanFan community, which is a user-generated content community. So this is an online consumer community, and we send them on missions. We send them to stores. We send them to take shelfies at various retailers. We ask them to make recipes and share them on their social feeds. So this is something that we've had a lot of fun doing. We have almost 5,000 members in our CanFan community, and this is just another way that we could partner with our retailers to get promotions out and discussions going on the online communities.
Tammy, what's a shelfie? I can imagine, but tell me.
You know, when you go to the shelf and you hold your camera up and take it's a selfie, but a shelfie.
Ah,
So you're showing the
okay.
product that you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. I thought maybe you bit your tongue. Okay, shelfie. Got it. Cool. Thank you. Okay, Tammy, I'm glad you mentioned on one of the previous slides. Okay, I know you guys don't want to hear my sadness, but one of the things that saddens me the most is that there's a lot of product that finds its way into our US store shelves and our schools that comes from China. I'll just say it, China. And when you look at the labeling and you look at the labeling laws, they're not very enforced. And so, in fact, I've been in this business 39 years, and when I'm looking at a can, I can't quite tell where everything's coming from. And I'm a big fan of supporting our growers, and I kind of wish the rest of the world was like that too, is supporting domestic agriculture and keeping things at home here. So one of the things that me and my boss and Beau Beau will have to take this over soon, is we go to our congressman and we ask for a little bit tougher labeling laws so that consumers can make their own informed decisions on where product comes from. When I look at those labels, I can't see it, maybe because I'm so old, but I wish that they had to put the statement on the top of the can like we do. And in fact, down there, Beau, is your new lidding, which actually not only shows them that it's coming from the United States, but it shows a map and it says a few fun things about our cans there. So that's what I do, spend a little bit of time there in Congress, just trying to help them understand. And they've been very sympathetic. In fact, now we have a bill, HR 914, which is going to be part of the national security bill that says, yeah, you got to not only put it bigger on the label and maybe even on the front, but on the top of the can too, so people can tell. So I love that. And I'm hoping we can get that passed.
Yeah. And that's another amazing thing about our products is if you look at in our categories, our products are really the only ones you're going to see with pull tops. So in addition to having this cool call out and understanding where the product is coming from really quick and easy and visible on top of the lid, you'll also notice our tomatoes have red pull tops and our fruits have green pull tops.
I want to thank everybody for joining us today and for hearing us. I hope we didn't, I hope we're fun. I hope we're interesting and we don't sound too self-serving, but we are truly trying to preserve the family farm and help domestic or California agriculture. And I guess if you're asking me, Tammy, what would I wish that this group would focus on from our day today? I would say, hey, can I tell you about the miracle of the can? The can is the most recyclable, magnetically separatable, low-cost, economic, nutritious, zero-waste, long-lasting, safe, durable, non-additive, non-preservative needing, portion-controlled, easy open, pre-prepped, snack-ready, meal-ready, long-lasting, tamper-proof, tamper-evident, and self-defense weapon-ready food container our universe has ever created. I said that from memory, although it might have looked like I was reading that. But I wish everybody would see that. And I want to thank everybody again for hearing us out. And if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. What do you got next, Tammy?
This is just a slide saying that we'd love your feedback. If you have any questions for us or would like to work with us further, you can reach out to the favorite person from today's presentation, and all of our information's here. And then I think we're going to move on to Q&A.
We are, but first I want to give a big thank you to Tammy, Andy, Beau, and Chris, and to Pacific Coast Producers for producing this fantastic webinar. Wonderful information, and thank you. So, questions, please send them our way. We have just a few minutes, about 6 minutes or so for questions. Several of our RDs have asked about CEUs for attending this webinar. They do not have prior approval. However, I'm going to be sending all of the attendees, dietitian attendees, a certificate that you can use to self-submit to CDR. So that should work just as well today, and we'll give that a try. Let's see. Question here. I guess this is for Andy or maybe Beau. Just talking about innovations in sustainability. We've talked a lot about where we are now, what a fantastic technology this is. What is it going to look like 10 years from now?
Yeah, I mean, I think specific to plastic, that's one thing that we're really looking into, and we've gone on an initiative to kind of combine forces with a lot of the retailers that have their own initiative about PCR post-consumer recycled content. So that's a big push that we've embarked on, and actually we've done significant testing to produce plastic fruit bowls that have 30% PCR component, and we could move all the way up to 90 or even 100%, just depending on how that's able to scale. It's one of those kind of push-pull things where the industry kind of needs to develop the infrastructure and the recycling capability, the advanced recycling capability, in order to provide the the raw material stock for us to utilize. But that's the one area where we're working to improve that package quite a bit. On the can side, it's infinitely recyclable. It's recyclable even if you're not trying to. So if you throw a can in the trash, that's going to go through and be pulled out at landfill with magnets. And so you're recycling even if you're not trying to. So we have a really good deal there, and we're doing more just to try to improve the plastic component. But we have a great plan there, and I think it's mainly just managing cost and availability of the PCR stock.
Yeah, Beau, thanks, Beau. That was a great answer. The only thing I have to add is it's funny how many people don't realize how recyclable our metal cans are, because we don't have to separate them, and they just go in. Even if they go into your trash can, they are separated at landfill through the MRFs. I forget what MRF stands for, but it's the municipal areas where garbage goes, and it gets collected, and magnets just boom, pop it up. And that steel is a great income source for the MRFs and for the states. And a lot of that steel is sold back as scrap, and it comes in, as Beau says, it's infinitely recyclable, and it's made into other things. It's made into pipelines and cars and infrastructure, and rebar. So that's what's fantastic about the cans, and it's ready to go 100% recyclable. And we're also doing a lot of glass here, Nancy. So we have,
Yes.
yeah, we're doing about 2.3 million cases for the glass, and something like 34 million cases worth of cans. If plastics went away tomorrow, Nancy, because we couldn't quite get it there, I'd be happy. I'd be just fine, because people would need cans more. So another good strike for the can.
Very good. Another question that just came in. Do you have an estimate on applesauce pouch availability?
We do, Chris. I'm staring at you when I say this. Is that my goal is that yesterday we got it approved by our board, because me and Beau presented to our board of directors, our growers who give Chris the money to invest. My goal is that we will be ready on January 1st, 2027. That seems like a long way away, but life flies by, Nancy, especially at my age of 61 and a half.
It does.
Before you know it. So we know that from the time we buy or purchase the equipment, we'll be ready 6 to 7 months after that. So our goal is the apples are available, and we want to be able to scale up January of 2027.
Very good. Okay. Next question. How do we address consumer concerns regarding use of pesticides or other growing agents in products that are to be canned?
Well, first off, I would say the best way to address it is that in your organic lines, which we do a lot of. We do, I think we do 5.7 million cases a year of organic tomatoes and fruits. One, we don't even have them in there. And two, I'm gonna put Chris on the spot here, is that our farmers, our grower-owned farmers, whom I earlier said they try to be stewards of the land, not miners of the land. They're going to use as little as they possibly can to deliver a fruit that is commercially acceptable. And Chris Ward and his staff put a tremendous amount of time into the rinsing, cleaning, and prepping of that. Chris, could you talk about that?
Yeah, I'll touch on it at the field level. So our growers are all part of what's called GAP, Good Agricultural Practices, and they get audited. And a lot of our growers are both conventional and organic growers. So they are very much into using minimal resources that they need to, and also to preserve the land. So they do a lot of like crop rotations. They actually function essentially as organic growers in most cases as well. So I'd say they do crop rotations. They also do subsurface irrigation, which they don't have extra water out that they're using, so they're actually just watering the roots, like in the case of tomatoes as an example. Yeah.
Nancy, and you've met a number of our growers in our time together, and people on this webinar would be so impressed if they spent some time with us. Our growers are so fantastic, and they are all truly third, fourth, and fifth generation farmers who need to take care of their land, and they need to take care of their trees, and they can't be dousing them with anything because they want those trees, specifically, we have 200-year-old pear trees and 20-year-old peach trees. Now the tomatoes are harvested, ground up, the whole plant every year, but we absolutely want to take care of the earth and of course take care of the land that we need year after year. I hope that answers that question there.
It does. It does. And one more, is your production on Del Monte products decreasing due to the company filing for bankruptcy?
Wow, that's a question I wish you would ask me on December 5th. It's hard to say what will happen. I think the most important thing that I can say for that is our goal here as a grower co-op is to save the many growers that provide products for Del Monte every year. There's 90,000 tons worth of peaches that still have 10 years of contract on it that just disappeared, right? Pears, 40,000 tons, apricots, 1,000 tons, grapes, 8,000 tons. Our goal would be to do as much of that production as possible as they close their plants. And whether we're co-packing for a Del Monte or Del Monte's brand kind of shrinks a little bit and it becomes private brand, which is what we do. That would be my favorite. My favorite thing would be Chris's plants are ready to absorb that. And if private label wants to absorb that, we would love to save those growers and all those support industries that go with it. For every one job there is in farming, there are 9 other support systems that do that. So it's a lot of people and it's a lot of agriculture that we'd love to save as a grower owned co-op. That would be our primary goal. And that's not really an answer to that question because, who knows how a bankruptcy goes, but we're there to fill in as needed for the private brands that we do.
Well, thank you so much again to all of our panelists and to Pacific Coast producers, especially for this webinar. I do want to announce the 3 winners of our prize boxes. They are Jennifer Donovan, Julianne Gallo, and Joni Rampola. So we will be in touch with you. Those names were just drawn randomly, but you win the PCP fun boxes. And look forward to getting those out to you. Thank you, everyone, for being with us today. I'm Nancy Paiho. Thank you for joining Shopping for Health for this webinar.
Bye, everybody. Thank you all.